free flow lor.
Free flow. So Amy, we were just talking about the association of listeners. What prompted you to want to reach out to me to share your story today?
Okay, Moses, good morning. Basically, I'm here actually because I like to share my recovery story as a schizophrenic person. I like to actually increase the awareness of the to the society, Singapore here, and of course to other part of the world about that. Actually, being a mental health person, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. That actually there's still hope after a diagnosis, and as long as we have a positive mindset, we can actually create the future that we want to have. So I like to bring out that positive vibes to people around, and hopefully this can go like pay it forward lah. So just to keep going and going, and that we can make this world a better place to live in.
Okay, so you mentioned you were a schizophrenic. When did that start?
Okay, my schizophrenic episode started when I was 19 years old. If I'm not wrong, that was in the year of 1994. At that period of time, I'm still a polytechnic student.
Oh, okay. So like, what was it like?
What was it?
What was life like?
Life like that time it was crazy. I mean, literally, it's a very unforgettable experience. It's something that not everyone or anyone will understand or go through, because I would say that only those people who actually experience this mental breakdown, then they will be able to relate or resonate with what I am talking about. But it doesn't mean that those like normal people will not be able to appreciate it, because I mean, human mind is very very amazing. I feel like that time actually I was 19 years old, so maybe I just share a little bit about how it happens. Yeah. So actually that time I was 19 years old, and I was actually going through a adventure camp. I was in Pulau Ubin. Prior to that camp, actually I was very exhausted from all this preparation. And during that time, I also used to be a very accommodating person towards my friend. So whenever my friend have any request, I will try my best to accommodate to their request. And because I yearn for friendship, I want to be a people pleaser. So I just go around to please those people, the friend. So in the end, it's actually make me very tired. And before that camp, actually, I have a streak of 7 days, which is I didn't have any sleep, proper sleep. Yeah. So during that camp, actually, things happened, and I was I mean, I was triggered by someone, a stranger actually. He used a cigarette to lit up the cigarette and then just flick it in front of my eye. And all of a sudden, I just feel that, oh, my world is so different, and like everything is like not under my control. And I start to see my instructor friend with a strange look on their eye, like I can see some colorful eyes. So in the end, I just start to scream around, running around very wildly. I can still remember. And my friends are trying to control me, but they can't. So somehow other they managed to, and they sent me back to mainland Singapore. And I went back home for a few weeks. It was like jumping up and down, walking around in the flat for every night, until my brother had no choice but to tie me down on a chair with I think it's a raffia string or some ropes, because I was like too active, like running, jumping around. Yeah. And I was sometimes I would just scold people like my family member, like for no reason. And I keep hearing voices telling me to do things, or telling me some information which is not true. Some of the friends' name also come into my mind, like They say, okay, Hui Ting, Hui Ting is in the living room because Hui Ting, the Ting means 客厅 lah. So Hui Ting in the living room, then Xiu King is what. They are just repeating inside my mind the voices. Yeah, usually I think it's a male voice.
Wow. So
That
how
was
long?
before. Yeah.
Where you mentioned you got back to Singapore? Where were you during this period?
Where were I? I was at the beginning. I was in Pulau Ubin, this island in of Singapore, and after that I was at home in my home, like nursing. I was nursing my condition. That time actually I didn't know that I have gone crazy. So it was only after a few weeks when I told my mom that I feel bored at home and I asked her to let me go back to the school. Only when I go back to school and then the incident happened where I actually heard voices to ask me to through a potted plant, a heavy big one, potted plant down the 6-story teachers building, I think. So I just don't know where did I get that energy. I just bring it up and I throw it down the building. And then in the end, I didn't crash anyone. I hope so. I didn't. I was not aware. And I just walk off and go down to the street. I walked out to the street on the Dover Road actually, and slowly there's a police car came by, and one policewoman and policeman came down to bring me to the hospital, IMH, the Institute of Mental Health.
Wow. How long were you in this state?
How long were I in this thing?
Yeah, how long were you like suffering from schizo?
That period.
Yeah, the whole period. How long were you in it?
I think at least 2 months to maybe 3 months, but the actual treatment is about 5 weeks, in the hospital. Yeah, so during that hospitalization, I was interviewed by a panel of the doctor and the student doctors, and then they found out from me how I feel and how is my behavior. I told them, and then in the end the big doctor actually diagnosed that my condition is a split personality or chemical imbalance of the brain, which is schizophrenia. Yeah.
So you were in IMH for how long?
That period 1994, I was in IMH for about 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you? What made you actually like? Was it the medication? Because I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of I mean I've spoken to a few people who have been to IMH before. Right now you're the fourth one, right? And it's always this thing about like it's not the medication that got them out. It's something that awoken within them. And from what I hear, that not many people actually do make it out of IMH. The medications don't really help; they just help to pacify. But then there's so many side effects, and the environment in IMH is like it's so unwelcoming that it kind of makes you feel like a prison, and it makes you stay inside, right? So, like, what was that inner awakening that got you, like yourself, Amy, to go like, okay, I need to get my life back?
Right, that's a good question. Okay, basically, when I was in the hospital, I was like, of course, my mind was derailed, and then I was not in control of myself. I even have the thoughts that I'm a superwoman, and then I'm able to control the world, and then I was so. In fact, I do not know why, but I suddenly become very strong. I remember one time I'm trying to get out of the bed, but because behaving very, very like crazy, so they tie me up onto the bed, and they tie me up for many times during that 5 week lah. And I actually got 4 episodes of hospitalization. So somehow or other, I become so experienced that I know how to untie myself from this rope and that means that bandage. They use the bandage to tie my arms and my feet to the bed, and then I'm able to actually untwine myself and then get out of the bed. So there's one incident I recall is that I actually untie myself, and because that time I was really in a very hyper state, so they get 4 male nurse to kneel me down, and then they actually try to subdue me, but I don't know how I managed to like hit them off. I managed to run like that. So I know sometimes, like example for the potted plant case, I can actually bring up that plant is about maybe I think at least less than more than about 7 kg.
Wow.
It's a big plant. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
So what was how did you manage to like what was the turning point, you would say, for yourself?
Okay, basically that time my mom, she was very she cared for me a lot, and she actually took the effort to take a bus from our house, our old flat, all the way to IMH. And it was just the bus stop is at Yio Chu Kang Road. If you know that the Yio Chu Kang Road to the Bangkok Green, there's a distance of about 2 bus stops away. After she dropped at the bus stop, she'll walk into that IMH. She took and every day about 2 hours in total to travel, and she actually forgo her business. She's working as a hawker store owner that time, and she actually closed her shop half day and come and provide me lunch. So she do it every day without fail. So because of her action, I was touched. I'm touched, and actually I told myself that I need to get out of that place. Although that like what you shared is true, that it is a very unwelcoming place. It make you feel like a prisoner inside there. And no matter how I plead with the doctor doesn't allow me to be discharged. Always is the case. So I am always like feeling very hopeless and desperate. And I feel like, like there's no way that I can get out of there. Even if how I ask my mom to help, I ask my family member to talk to the doctor. Doctor say, no, she has to wait. Then sometimes they will say, okay, today, maybe tomorrow you can discharge. Then they will postpone another 2 more days. Then after that day come, I was so happily when I go in and they assess me, then they extend another 2 more days. And then sometimes they just keep on extending until I kind of like give up hope to leave that hospital anymore.
Wow.
So in the end, actually, because of my mom, unwavering attention, and my sister, my brother, they all also comes and visit me. And my friend at that time, there are a few friends that are aware about my illness, so they came and visit. So all of their visit give me more hope and confidence that I can be well again. So actually, with their motivation, is propel me to want to actually be discharged as soon as possible and go back to nurse myself to go to a recovery route. And when I was stepping out of the hospital, I told myself one thing. Since now, Amy, you are actually diagnosed with a so-called mental illness, okay? So there's no other thing on earth that is so scary anymore. This is like the worst out of the worst lah. So if you can be this is like because in 1994 it's still a very stigma thing to talk about mental. So if people know that you are a mental illness person, they will not want to employ you as their worker. So I feel that like in a way my future is a bit like how I say that, like not so hopeful lah. So I told myself, since this is the case, since I already like that as a person, a patient, so I will just do whatever it takes to make myself happy lor. Yeah.
So wow. Okay. So it's been like, when I met you, I think I met you earlier this year. And I couldn't tell that you had that history. And you just mentioned something about doing something that makes you happier. How did you find happiness?
Okay. So basically, I would like nowadays people a lot of people talk about self-love and self-care, right? So we need to put ourselves first, take care of our own needs before we go and take care of other people. So in my case, I need to take care of my son, my only son, and how do I make myself happy? So I do things that I enjoy. For example, I know that I have this mental condition, so I need to have a better control of my emotion. So actually, for everyone, it's the same. Emotion is a up and down thing. So sometimes you can feel very happy, then the next moment you can feel very down also, because emotion is so unpredictable. But to me, the definition of recovery is to manage my emotion well, and I keep on seeking for ways to help me to actually achieve this balance in being a more control of this emotion thing. So I went for thing like sound healing, sound bath lah. Then it's like using the gong to help you to go to a certain frequency, you know. And I also do things like body talk, Reiki healing, and also I also pick up like Chinese metaphysics to help me to have more clarity. And now I would like to touch on that body talk that I actually single in to want to actually adopt that as my daily practice. And also I hope that I can actually master that body talk technique, actually to actually in the future I can help other people. So maybe I share with you what is body talk.
Yes, what is body talk? I was about to ask you.
Body talk is actually a form of informative medicine. So this is actually a technique that we use to actually to identify what is the body telling you about this person. So for example, actually I only come across this body talk terms at the beginning of at the end of last year or beginning of this year. So actually I think it's at the end of last year. So actually body talk, you can just lie down on the bed, just like if you know how okay, let's say we go for massage, right? The massage bed. So you just lie down on the bed, and then the healer or the practitioner, the body talk practitioner, will be the one who is going to hold on to your wrist, and then she will be able to actually from the movement or the reaction of your wrist, she will be able to actually know what is your body telling you to do now. Example, like that I went for a few sessions with one of my body talk practitioner, Irene, and she is actually quite well known in this area. She has been in the field for at least 15 years. Okay, so she will just hold to the wrist, and then she will just say, okay, she will talk to herself like she actually teach me some little technique lah. Like this is a yes, this is a no, something like that. And then she know how to actually interpret that message. And then after she will interpret it for about half an hour, and then she will be able to derive out actually at that moment of time, what is my body telling me. So I went through with her at least 4 sessions so far, throughout the last 8 months. And actually, she said that I have improvement in terms of my mentally or emotionally and physically. She said actually, at one point, she actually told me that I'm like very, I have a lot of, give out a lot of information to other people. So, and then it's what we call the UFO, unsolicited free offer. People never ask you for anything. You just dumb, you just give it to them. So when she will say that rubbish in, rubbish out. So you give them rubbish, they give you back rubbish. So she asked me to cut on that. And then got one case of the healing session. She actually, I was lying down, closing my eye, relaxing, listening to the music, and then I was thinking about my son, because I was having a bad time with my son that time, and my tears just roll down to the cheek. And then after the session, she will ask me, okay, so Amy, how do you feel? And I was like speechless. And she told me that, tell me how you feel. So I said, oh, actually, I'm thinking about how I can actually rekindle the bonding with my son. So she after that, she read through her notes that she had written down, and I saw the first sentence which says to rekindle the bondage with my son. So I was like, oh, I feel really amazed at that time. I was like, how would you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about my son at that instant, you know. So how do you manage to reach the message from my body just by touching my wrist? So, you know, so slowly, I developed more interest to understand more about body talk. And she's also very kind to actually quite open with her sharing. So I'm still learning from her. And then I hope that in future I can use this technique to actually make myself a more balanced in terms of the emotion person. And then there's so much more about the body talk that I actually is very interested to learn, and also in the future to share with the audience. Yeah, I feel that there's many ways that we can use to heal ourselves, but this is one of the method which I myself currently is adopting. Yeah, so I hope that like moving forward, I can use this method to actually heal myself, and then in turn I can heal other people. Yeah.
So Amy, it's like I mean, me myself, I'm a HSP, a highly sensitive person. So I noticed that, you know, whenever I go around people nearby, if there's any ailments in their body, I could feel it as well. And one of the things I noticed that is incredibly hard for us to do is to stay objective, and do not like what you mentioned, UFO, like not unsolicited free offer. I have that issue as well. I just want to help someone, and even though they didn't ask for that help, and I find myself like crossing that boundary from time to time. So, what is your method to what would be your method to make sure to actually like set boundaries? What works for you?
Okay. So basically, I would think that I mean, all of this, like setting boundaries, all these things, sometimes it will go through trial and error. So, as for example, we like what you share, right, Moses, that sometimes you also have this tendency to want to be helpful, because usually people who are like kind in nature, right, they will tend to want to actually help those people, but we will need to take some time to identify, like, if this person that I'm sharing the info with need that kind of information. If they do not need, actually they might feel that it's a hassle to actually read even your message. I feel like I also sometimes receive like morning greeting, or even some informative video sharing, or in my WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. And sometimes I have the feeling that, I mean, I understand and I appreciate that the person who sent, the sender, is actually doing it out of a concern and out of a good intention. But you know, sometimes like we will feel like, I'm so busy. I still have to take that 10 seconds or maybe 20 seconds to read your message is like a waste of my time. You know, I know it can be very, how do I say it? Sometimes I feel a little bit of frustrating to actually receive morning greeting. I know I'm very bad in this way. Like, people is out of goodwill, you know, and then I don't feel appreciative. But I mean, for me, it's like usually last time I will just receive everything, and then I will keep myself very busy looking at all these messengers lah. But then after some time, I start to know that actually I have much more thing to do in life lah, because I have a direction that I want to actually focus on my health also. So this also take time, so you know, right?
Yes.
So actually, I want to actually spend more time with my loved ones. I want to do more, to me, more meaningful things. So everyone has their own definition of what is meaningful to them. Some people, they can go to the park and networking, that is, to them is very meaningful if they go to fun drinking sessions. So everyone is different. So so that's why I value my time. I value others people's time. So so for me, it's like I value people, like people who are punctual. It really tells me a lot about how this person feels toward our friendship or relationship. Like, so, and then for the UFO thing, let's come back to the UFO, right? So I will learn to, you know, go through that trial and error thing already, right? I know that, oh, in fact, thank you to Irene and some other friends lah, who are more learned. They actually share with me that actually, like, if you actually throw out all this information, like sometimes I will blast I will blast my WhatsApp people, like, like I just finished the Facebook Live, I will also do a bit of blasting. Sometimes it's really uncontrollable one. We have the tendency to want to share, right, Moses? So
Correct.
maybe we were, it takes experience, to actually know, oh, where is my boundary? And we have to actually talk to ourselves, what do I want out of this thing that I'm doing now? Is it meaningful to me? Do I want to invest my time? Do I want to invest my energy on it? If it's not worth that, then we skip and then we just don't do it, and just we might as well use that time to go and rest on the bed. Nowadays we don't have enough sleep. People is being so hardworking, trying to. Now the trend is about doing virtual sharing, Facebook Live, Facebook page. Everyone is thinking about setting up their own virtual office. So this is the trend now. And in fact, just to do a little bit more sharing regarding to Chinese metaphysics. So for this period 9, people are actually, and you see now I'm also doing a bit of unsolicited free offer again. People might not be wanting to hear that, but okay, it's just, I just want to share a little bit, because for period, we have this period 9. So for period 9, right, people is more transparent, and a lot of people are doing their own stuff themselves already. So they won't, the hierarchy of the office is getting lesser of importance, less important. So a lot of personal branding, a lot of virtual Zoom, all these things is going to be like this from now on, from what I see now. Yeah.
So, Amy, now, like, when we enter the realm of healing, like you mentioned, you're doing Chinese metaphysics, you're doing Reiki, a lot of energy healing, body talk. Especially for highly sensitive people, we tend to absorb a lot of. When we heal, we don't just heal. What happens is that some of the negative ailments actually transfer onto us, right? And understanding that you're coming from a history of like schizophrenia. Which means you already have that history. How is it that do you when you're doing these healing sessions, do you have anxiety that you may slip back into schizophrenia?
Yeah, like the possibility of a relapse.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
Definitely I will have this feeling that, there's really there's really no way I can say that, okay, I'm perfectly bulletproof, I'm diagnosed, recover fully from this schizophrenia. Because yesterday even I was talking to a friend, and she is also one of the like me, and then she also asked me this question. I do not know whether I will relapse. So I actually I didn't really talk to her about that because we sidetracked. So, but I really feel that actually there's really a possibility of a relapse, and we will definitely feel anxious, like sometimes even scared about what if I get relapse. But for my case, right, actually, this feeling have been with me. This feeling of afraid of being relapsed, right, has been with me for the past 20 plus years. But then it's only about 1 year ago when I started learning Chinese metaphysics, and also I started to have more clarity in my head, that I realized that actually, yes, that might be this possibility, but I know that I can actually prevent that from happening by being self-care, self-love, and take the medication on time, and also to be more generous in giving. Let's say if there's people who really reach out to me to want to help them genuinely, because right, nowadays there's a lot of scammers around also, so we need to be careful. But if there's a really we are actually practicing gratitude, and also practicing this thing called, what I call the abundance mindset, which I learned from my Chinese metaphysics teacher. Yeah. So when we have an abundance mindset, we become less particular about what people did to us should be equivalent or more than what we give them. So we become more of a giver. So like example, so it's like example, just for a friend treating us a plate of nasi lemak. So we can give them something back in return, or we can actually just buy them a tea or something, ice cream, something like that. So we are like we learn to be generous, of course, within our own financial ability lah. Yeah. So do not. I mean, I'm trying to actually portray here is to not to be calculative lah. Because in fact, last time I was quite a calculative person. So I learned from my mistake, and I try to improve every day, a little bit, maybe 1% a day, better than the yesterday me. Yeah.
And like what you mentioned about the 1% growth, like most of the times, some of the times when I'm working previously in the past, when I'm used to want to work on a behavior change, what I noticed is that I set like an impossible goal, and then just go for it, and then burn out. And I started to notice that there were a lot of people who were doing that. So what happens is like one of the most popular ones was New Year resolutions. They will set an impossible New Year resolution, and then like the gyms will become the most crowded places in the first month, and then everything was just start to go down. So that really got me into the idea of learning habits and how habits are found, which is how I found out about the 1% growth, better than yesterday. Just aim for that 1% growth. And it becomes really consistent, really sustainable. So I really like, I really like that. Yeah. So, and I noticed one of the hardest things about that is actually the idea of patience. It's because like when it's 1%, I find it really hard to see my own growth. Like so I went through this abundance mindset shift like back in 2019 December, and I think like honestly, like until a few months ago, I was like asking myself, why am I working so hard for? I don't see the changes. I don't see the fruits to my labor. Nothing is happening. And actually, my life took a 360, and I didn't realize. I just couldn't see the fruit of my labor, because things were just changing like 1% every single day. And so it becomes like, what's the point of it? Comes to a point of like, why bother if nothing's going to change? 1% is so slow. I don't see the results. Even when the results is there, I don't see it. So like for yourself, Amy, what would you say? Like, how would someone recognize positive change in themselves if, let's say, like I'm gonna start working on myself and I don't see the change? How would you, like, what is your strategy to like tell yourself like, hey, this is working, let's continue on this path?
I would think that personally, I also do not think that I'm very qualified to touch on this aspect, because I believe that Moses is also quite you read up quite a lot about habits, right? You mentioned you read up quite about all these things, and I also see from your Instagram that that you keep doing the pull out, the exercise, all this resistance training, is it? Yeah.
Calisthenics.
What's that again?
Calisthenics.
Kinesthetics. Yeah. So you are actually also quite disciplined. So maybe I understand, like you mentioned that sometimes that we keep on doing that 1% increase every day, but we didn't really see that result in the end, because it's like so small, that change. So actually my feeling, my thinking is that actually we can actually ask for feedback, or like actually get someone to be be accountable to someone for our result growth, because only other people is able to see what we cannot see, because we are here, and then the other person is standing like in front of us. They are able to see us better than we see ourselves. So like actually for now, actually I actually participate in the 30-day challenge with Aihun. Yeah, she's my like instructor or师傅 or trainer lah. So actually I'm going through this transformation diet and exercise training. Okay, so basically she monitor what I eat lah. She give advice on what I should take in every day. So and then I have to weigh in every morning lah, to actually to see that my weight. And I mean, this is day 3. It goes from 91.4, now it's about 90.2. 3 days only. So I mean,
Wow.
I mean it's because I really eat clean. She asked me not to touch those, like diet thing. I don't have to tell on it. So it's like, not to touch those things that is fried, that is not even like pork, all these things. It's all no. It's just plain fish, vegetables, a lot of colorful vegetables, all this, and then sourdough, eggs is fine, and just plain water. And if I want, I can just drink that, sparkling water, ice mountain one, just 1 brand only. So very, very strict diet, I feel, because usually I just anyhow mala, xiangguo, everything, I just hantam inside. Anything that can go in, roti prata, I just go in. So now it's like a pivot, a shift of the mindset. So it's actually to build up my discipline. So to answer your question, right, Moses, like how can we see that change, and how do we actually let us also carry on with that action that we have begin with? For example, maybe for in your case, right? Let's say if you're let's say doing some training, kinesthetic training, so it might be good, like it might be helpful to get someone that you can accountable for, to account to that person, accountability, like say, hello, so and so, so now I'm working out. So after maybe every day or every week, you all report in, and then have a Zoom or something to update about your progress. So actually now I can do, instead of like 30 sit-up, I can do like 60 sit-up, something like that. So you have someone that a human that you can accountable to, and then in the end, the person will be able, of course, the person must be willing and have the time to do it with you. And then you will be able to hear from him or her about your progress. So you will build up your confidence level to actually to keep on sustain your exercise regime. That's what I feel. So get someone that you can be accountable for about the result that and you want to achieve, the goal.
So
I
an
think
accountability partner.
yes, I think that is very important. So like this, the diet thing that I'm on, the 30-day challenge, we actually I and my sister, we actually started a group chat lah. So every morning, I will clock in my weight, followed by 500 ml of water, and then my breakfast, subsequently lunch, and then dinner at 6 p.m. or not later than that, and then try to sleep at 10 p.m. like that for 30 days. Like today is day 3. So she is very, Icon is very nice. That she just keep on to motivate me, and my sister also very nice. The both of them. And then sometimes even Icon yesterday was asking me, oh, what is Amy having for dinner today? It's so exciting to see what she's going to share with us. So it made me like want to be more participative. Yeah.
So one of the, 30 days challenge. So I've tried some 30 days challenge. I always notice that day 6, day 6, day 7, day 18, and day 21 like the hardest.
Really?
I don't know, like, so because it's such a culture change and a culture shift,
right.
and sometimes it's not just on the body, but like to me, I feel it can be really taxing on the mind, because there's a lot of willpower being put into it, and that is quite exhausting. So how do you recharge yourself to make sure that you still have the willpower to go on the next day?
I mean, I can really resonate with what you're sharing about this 67, 21, so, because actually on the day 2 itself, I actually a bit hectic, like in English meaning frustrated, because I was actually I tend to have sourdough for my breakfast. So I went to bought a loaf of sourdough, and then I went to visit my sister. And then I just being nice, like I give her a piece of the sourdough. Then she saw that the sourdough inside got this like cranberry, and then she started to comment, there's something inside the sourdough, so it's a no. Then inside me was like boiling, you know. I was like, oh, I mean, it's just a cranberry, my. And that then she was like, oh, you better let I know there's something inside that sourdough. Then I was like, what the big deal, you know? So in the end, I was getting a bit and then frustrated. I was actually taking glass water to collect some water for my friend. And then I accidentally, or I would say that because my mood is so angry, right? So accidentally I break one of the bottle. You know, so it's a chain effect lah. So I realized that actually sometimes because of one incident, it can lead to some other incident. It can be an unpleasant one because of the mood that I was able to actually control myself. If I were to say, okay, my sister was talking out of good intention. She wanted me to stick to the diet. But for me, it's like I was so frustrated until that I say that I don't need people to tell me what to do. I know what I want to do. Huh? So if you want to tell me what to do, and if I'm happy, I just don't do. I just give up. Never mind. This is my life. That type of, you know, very this type of statements. So then my sister you know, just keep quiet lah. So and then she helped me to pick up all the glasses bits of the thing. Yeah. So I mean, I mean, day two, I really want to give up in a way because my sister unintentional comment, you see, because I value her comment quite a lot. But I talked to someone, my friend, later on about this incident. My friend said, Amy, you need to be in control of your own reaction. You know, you don't have to react to everybody comments one. You know, outside there in the world, there are so many hate speech lah, keyboard warriors lah. You know, even when I'm on mothership, right? I mean, I shared a story about me being a GrabFood rider who got schizophrenia, and then there's people who commented about, oh, so you are crazy. So I mean, that would be very dangerous for the road user. I was like, oh, first instant I want to reply. So I just reply and say that I was certified fit by the doctor from IMH lah. But then after that, the next day, another reader, he commented, Amy, ignore this person. You don't have to reply one. So I mean, and then there's another case in the mothership website itself. There's this reader who say, oh, okay, imagine a crazy person send you food and then she woke up and then what will happen to your food and yourself, you know, dangerous. And then and then, you know, got one user, I just ignore lah. I say, never mind lah. The next day, someone speak for my behalf lah to say that actually this person who give the comment because he do not know what is the meaning of karmic. You know, we speak, we must be responsible for what the words we speak. So I'm learning to be more able to respond better in such a negative environment.
Right, it's just being more mindful of our words, why we say what we say.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I think intention is a really powerful word. I recently shared about the state of intention. Why do we why? Right. So it goes deeper than why do we do, but why do we why? The other day, I think I shared this on my Facebook before. I saw this 8-year-old kid who actually plucked the confidence to jump from one chair to another. There's this little thing in the workout section. So he started off by he hold the pole with two hands and then he was learning how to jump. And then he leveled up to only using one hand. And then finally, when he used two hands, he was like super proud of himself. So he kept calling for his mother to take a look at him jumping. And every time he called, she ignored him and she was on her phone and just like, you know, playing her phone. And she missed it at least 6 times. You know, so he called for her, she missed it. He called for her, she missed it. He called for her, she missed it. And then finally, on the 7th time where he called for her and she finally looked at him and he jumped, and he looked back at her and he had that face like, yeah, you saw it, I did it. Like, hey, what do you think? And the first thing she said, and she said this in Mandarin, but you know, I've been learning Mandarin, so I understand what she said. She's like, oh, you better be careful because you're not wearing proper footwear.
Right.
And he was devastated. His pride turned to like his face just sunk, his whole body like gravitated towards the floor. He even ran away, you know. He went from that fitness corner all the way to the back of the park to just play the cycle on his own. He just couldn't be there anymore. And I think like honestly the mom's intention came from a very good place of like, hey, do be careful, you're not he's really not he was just wearing slippers. But at the same time, you know, like I think the action and intention was not on par, and it caused this super heartbreak uh, of like just not understanding each other. When we do not give our eyes to someone else to see them, when we don't give our ears to someone else to hear them, we don't give our mind to someone else to understand them, our attention to focus on them, and our heart to love them, what happens is that we don't listen to them. And more often than not, from what I notice, is that comes from a place of internal resistance. There's a place in our hearts that, or in our minds, that has not cleared a certain obstacle. And maybe it comes from a place where I fell down, and therefore I don't want you to go through the same pain. So I say like, hey, Amy, don't climb that chair. Because I climbed the chair and I fell and I broke my back. Yeah. So like it's a lot about like, you know, it comes from a place of self-perspective, self-perception, and a lot of things we say comes from that emotional reaction that we have to others. And you mentioned being more mindful about the words that you choose to speak, the karmic reactions and stuff. That shift was definitely not easy.
A little bit breaky.
Yeah. Hold on
But
a
it's
second.
okay now. It's okay now.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
okay.
So yeah, I understand that the shift was definitely not easy. And for like, how did you get started in terms of being more mindful of your intentions behind your words?
I would think that the response or how other people behave or treated me when I was like not being mindful in the past. I used to, you know, how do I say, actually, like, you know, like Chinese got this saying 两头蛇, that means the two-headed snake. So like during my past working experience, you know, sometimes we have colleagues, right? We have I mean, like, you know, office politics is very common in this working environment. So actually, like I do not have bad intention to actually relay or to, how to say, to actually say the message of other people, other colleague to other colleague, and how do I say, to from a colleague A to colleague B. Actually, colleague A meant to talk to me only to me, but I do not have the awareness and the, you know, the idea to know that it's just between the two of us. And you know, I was always being mentioned by my friends, closer friend, to tell me that actually, Amy, you need to watch your tongues, because you know sometimes what you say hurts, and also sometimes you reveal too much of other people information. So I received some also some you know, treatments, like treatment that is a bit harsh, also from colleagues or even other friends, because of my behavior towards them, being not mindful about what I talk. And you know, sometimes actually indirectly I hurt them because the result of my speech, you know, speaking, and I hurt them unintentionally. So I learned the hard way, actually, that I need to actually be mindful, be more mindful, and to speak only when necessary. I'm still trying, like, because being a very bubbly person, you know. Sometimes I really, when I become hyper, I was just rattle on like that. But then I learn, and I have this habit of actually writing some notes to myself. And I wrote one note which I just read yesterday, is to always be the last to speak, and to listen attentively. Yeah, and I also agree with your statement about being mindful, putting our attention to the present. And this is a form of respect to the person who's talking. Although actually I also want to do a bit of reflection on myself. Is I remember I just attended a 八字 class for the past about 6 Sundays. Being the inquisitive personality, right? Actually, I asked a lot of questions to my teacher. She is very nice. She is very patient. But later on, she actually shared with me that another student in the class, very quiet student, didn't really pop a lot of questions, but he's still very new also. But because she said her point is that he give her respect, it gave me a aha moment. Oh, so actually my behavior in class in the Zoom class of keep asking questions, actually in a way I don't think I'm being very respectful to my teacher. So I reflect and I want to improve so that in the future if I attend her class again, I want to actually to be more slow lah. Just absorb what she's trying to share, deliver. Only when it comes to a pause, a longer pause, that I will ask my question or raise up my hand in Zoom like that. I think that would be a better approach. Yes.
All right, so it's a lot of fruitful and nice sharing from you, Amy. If someone wants to get in touch with you, maybe for your healing services or just to be a friend with you, how can we connect with you, Amy?
Okay. Basically, I want to declare that I'm not a healer. Okay, I'm still a learner. So I really love to share. In fact, Moses, I have the intention, because I actually last time when I learned the Facebook marketing from you, I have the intention to create my own page lah, my own Facebook page. But however, I feel that I'm not really very confident to start one. So I'm thinking that maybe I will just start off with my own Facebook Live in my own current Facebook profile page. There is the Amy Kang profile page. So I'm thinking to roll out that Facebook Live. With maybe in the month or so, I need to do some learning preparation about the technicalities lah. And maybe if we have time, I'd like to learn from you as well. I mean, of course, like I can also YouTube lah. And then after that, I want to actually invite some people. Maybe if I have the honor to invite you also, maybe to share certain area that is of your expertise or that we think can be of a value to other people. And also, I actually, in fact, want to actually, I know that this is a bit of challenge to actually invite those people, those schizophrenic person, also to come and share about their recovery story. So I want to host it like a form of Facebook Live on my own page lah in the future. And if for anyone who would like to get in touch with me, I would appreciate if they can actually message me on the Facebook Messenger first before they actually come forward to request to be my friend, because I have actually had past experience of scammers, so I'm very, very sensitive to people who want to be my friend, be it woman or man, because I would think that anyone who want to be my friend, I will really appreciate if they can let me know their intention upfront. I don't want to do a guessing game. I'll be very direct here. Yeah. So just private message me on Facebook Messenger. Let me know why you want to be my friend and how I can be of value to you. And we can probably get connected after some conversation. Yeah, that's what I feel. Thank you so much.
Any parting words, Amy?
Parting.
Any
Okay,
final words? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Oh, okay. Basically, I like to really thank you, Moses, for giving me this opportunity to share on your platform. I appreciate this and I value your time. This morning is like a very cozy morning with the rain out there. So I can understand that we might as well, some people might as well sleep in, that you actually take this time out to do this Zoom meeting with me. I also like to thank you, Aikun, also to sit in to listen to this sharing. Yes, and I like to actually share with the people out there who are listening in that actually my objective here is very simple. I just want to share about my schizophrenia, schizophrenia recovery story. And I like to actually highlight that I am someone who cannot be profit-driven kind of mentality. If I do something out of money, I will go blur easily. So I rather I do it out of my own intention is to I want to build a better society in terms of the people destigmatizing mental health topics lah. So I like to actually in the future to advocate for mental health in Singapore. And actually, I actually wrote into NCSS, but there's no reply so far. So I like to actually be an advocate for mental health. And then I also like to appeal to people to actually take a look at those senior citizens in Singapore or even in other part of the world. Actually, there are a bunch of people out there very lonely, elderly, with no support because maybe they have no children or with children who doesn't care about their existence, who are out there actually struggling, lonely in a one-room flat or anywhere. Well, I hope that there are people out there who, if you have some time on your hand or some money or some energy, please go and show some care and concern to this group of people so that they can feel more love, because I believe love is the greatest language of all. Yeah, that's all for my speech today.
Cool. Thank you very much, Amy.
Mm.